measuring in inches. Not, not the metric system. So here's why. In reality, in America, if you go to Home Depot, Lowe's, Menards, wherever, and you go to buy a thing, doesn't matter what the thing is, it's going to be measured in either inches or feet. Sheet of plywood is 4x8, half sheet's 4x4, sheet of plexi 32x48, 20x32. It's all going to be in the American measurement system. So we are going to be using inches or feet today.
Inches.
No, I mean, whatever you choose, because you can convert back and forth between inches and feet just using 12. So, before I tell you the task you're going to accomplish, you need to be sitting wherever you will sit for the next 2 days. Guys, the main purpose for that is not to keep you like where you're at. It's so that without knowing you, a guest teacher can know who is or is not here, and if an emergency happens, fire drill, whatever, they know who was here and not here. Right? So if they look around, they're like, all right, open seat, like figure out who's not here. So wherever you're sitting today is where you're going to sit for the next 2 days. As we're doing the task I'm about to tell you, this is going to circulate and you're going to fill it out. It's gotten slightly easier since the last time now that we have the round table up front, but you got to still remember it's kind of mirrored, that if you are on like the garage door side, you're on like this side of the circle table, right? Because the back of the room is back here. So you might want to turn it so you can see front of the room to check where you're sitting. So we will start this at the circle table and then probably take it to Gus and Mick so that we can make sure that Gus and Mick put their names on the bottom, left, here, and then we can go from there. Make sense?
Yep.
Also with that, who is not here to, well, I guess I could figure that out with cards, but. All right, so your task is, because these tables suck and I would love to replace them. These, like the round table's great, but these tables are not great.
But these are kind of cute.
But okay, so we want the same size. The size, or if we want bigger, we need to know what we have so we can go bigger.
Exactly.
I need you guys to measure the length, width, and height of your tables, but you guys need to go to a rectangle table. Sorry. So, and I mean, there's no length and width of a circle. There's just the diameter. Well, if you want, you can measure diameter. Yeah, you guys can do, but like, you got to make sure you're straight across the middle. Yeah. Sorry, you guys can work on the circle. So, length, width, and height. Height will be top of tabletop.
I'm so good at numbers.
Right? The top, how high it is, like for your arms to sit on. Did that answer your question?
No, what about the circular corners?
That does not, so length is from straight to straight, right? So don't, like the rounded doesn't count because the table length, like if you're going to cover it with paper or something, you'd want from straight to straight, and width. So guys, normally length is longer than width.
That's what I said.
Just by default. So it doesn't matter if you look at this table and you go, well, that's the width and that's the length. We just normally say the length is longer than the width because you can switch them around. Gravity. All right, dive into it.
Woo! Okay.
Will just got called out.
Yeah, so the height.
Well, I guess once the thing goes around, we can figure it out.
So the height being like.
You're working with your teammate. And you want to write this on graph paper.
I'm clarifying.
Sorry, you want to write this on graph paper.
Wait, sir. Height being like all the way up to here.
Yep, top of the table. Yep.
Like right here.
Yep.
You didn't look. Okay.
Yes, I did. You just didn't see me look.
You have a yardstick.
That's what you're using. Do you think I have a yardstick? Of course I do.
You do. You always have like everything. You gave me a.
Excuse me, no. Wait, where'd Charlie go? I thought I saw him. Okay. Anyone on radio available?
Exactly.
Oh, that's
Oh, right.
So length is the shorter one?
No, length is the longer one.
No, this is not.
So yours
You don't
would be
need the
length?
area.
And
You
yours,
just need the
what's
dimension.
the number?
Width? 2 feet and 2.75 inches.
There's no need for the area.
Now we get to the fun part.
We just need the height now. Yeah, I think we should probably do it.
Okay, we're in a bit of a kerfuffle here.
Wait, height is only here, right? The width of the table.
Yeah, measure the width of the table and then I'll measure from here to here, then we just add the
Oh wait, you measured the width, right? No?
Should I do it? Yeah.
Isn't the height this part? Because this is the actual table. This is the stand. So it'd be exactly 1 inch. But also, that might be confusing because I don't want people to be sitting down with 1 inch table.
Oh.
Mr. Hudson.
Okay. Where's Mr. Hudson when we need him?
Let's go track him down.
Why are we tracking down Mr. Hudson?
Choose.
To find out.
Yeah. Now what? So the radius Right, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know.
Guess we'll just ask when he comes back.
Should we just add on to the next?
It sounds nearly identical, so that's why it's
What do you do? Do you do H permutation?
I don't know what the program is, so I don't think sure.
H permutation?
Bro, this is a too nice sword.
What's T permutation? There's named after letters because like T permutation switches these two, so it looks like a T.
We're about to talk about our measurements. You got all 3?
Oh,
You think you're as close as possible.
I mean, try again just to make sure.
Well, you guys, there's only one of those. So you guys kind of have an advantage.
Yeah.
By the way, help me stay honest. Question or answer?
question.
Question.
Okay, what's your question?
Are we measuring the actual height of specific?
I already answered that. 10:33 to keep us honest. 10:33.
I didn't hear you though.
I can tell that. This is why listening to directions is oh so important. What I said at least twice is to where your arms sit. The top of the table. So not the bottom of the top of the top. Length, width, height. We're going to call the length the longer one,
1 inch.
the width the shorter one, and the height, well, that one's kind of obvious. Length, width, height. Don't ask me why my L is the only one capital. Sometimes my brain just does weird things. I laid them all out. So we're missing Will because he went home, but I don't think we're missing anybody else. Check, check, 1, 2, is this thing on? Yeah, okay, so we're all here except for Will. We need to decide where we think Will would sit before the end of class.
You would go right there.
You think Will would sit? So Vivian, have you filled out the thing yet? The seating chart? When it comes to you, can you put Will's name on it too, please? Alright, Owen, what did your group get for the length?
We got 71 inches.
71 inches. What about your width?
2 feet and 2 inches.
So let's convert that to just inches to make our life a bit easier. So that'd be 24 plus 2,
Yeah, 26.
26 inches. Guys, sometimes it's easier to not mix feet and inches. And the height,
1
1
inch.
inch.
so from the floor up is really like the height of the. This would be thickness. So I guess that was a like loss in translation.
That's what.
So we probably shouldn't do this. That would be thickness of the table. The height is from the ground.
Okay.
Height is normally measured from the ground, guys. Thickness is different, right? Thickness.
I thought you meant like where you're.
It's okay. Just, like take a moment. We'll circle back. Vivian, I know you're alone back there, but did you get this done? No. Did you get like any of these? Did you get any of these measurements done? Like for length or width or? You shut the door, please. Well, we can convert. What'd you get?
27 point.
5 feet 11 inches. 5 feet is a nice one. How many inches are in a foot? Amar. Amir. We had an Amar 2 years ago, and I can't stop saying his name. Stop doing what you're doing. I've corrected you on this multiple classes. Do you think anything's going to go different than it has in the past? No. Rulers are tools. They're not toys. Do I need to say this again? Thank you. 5 feet's a good one. Because what's 5 times 12? 60. So when you have 5 feet as a reference point, you know that's 60. Go ahead. So 5 feet and?
11 inches.
Ooh, so 71 inches. Now guys, don't just agree with what other groups said. Like, I hope we're not just doing that. Did you get the width?
The width was like, I think, like 2 feet and like 5.5 inches.
We're 2 feet and 5. Ooh, that would be more than this.
That's what I got, yeah. That's what we got.
What'd you
Yeah,
get?
me too.
What, Maddie?
We got, well, I didn't convert it, but we got
Let's do
2
this again.
2 feet and 5. So how many inches is 2 feet?
24
24 plus 5.
equals 20.
29. And did you say there was a fraction also? We'll just
And a
call it 29.
half, and a half, and a half.
And a half? Okay. And y'all get anything different than those two?
I
Simon?
just got 29 straight. No.
Simon just got 29 straight up. What'd you guys get? Gus? You got 29 and a half also?
Yeah.
What?
Switching it to 29.5, we also got that. Just now we remeasured.
So wait, why do you guys think you're getting different measurements? What is going on here? It's your card.
Woo!
Go ahead, Maggie.
We can't read the rulers because they're all like faded and like kind of janky, but
Oh, so you want a different tool.
exactly.
Alright, you are welcome to use my yardsticks now.
Woo! Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The first ruler I grabbed had no numbers on it, and they were all just scratched
That
off.
we just call that a straight edge.
Also, one thing that I used to do when I would measure is because like
I got it so good.
I would put them into.
Oh, you used two? I should have told you guys you weren't allowed to do that. The whole point was for you guys to get frustrated at the tool not being good enough.
Oh well, it still wasn't good.
Yeah.
It was still really high.
Well, and the rulers don't start at 0,
Yeah.
right? That's what
And
you
so I
can't
used,
line them up.
to put them edge to edge with like create like
And
half
that doesn't
an
look.
inch to an inch.
Hey, Mick is pointing out that when you use multiple rulers, that whole fact that they don't start at 0 makes it mess up. And like, yeah,
I like it.
That's why we
I like it.
I know.
double check it with the meter stick now, or the yardstick. Hey, make sure you have a yardstick, not a meter stick. We're measuring in American inches.
Is this a yardstick? This is a
Ah,
yardstick.
thank you. Let's check. Is everybody ready on this? Of course, Maddie had to be the only one to write her name upside down.
Well, do you write it? No, I wanna
it's
rewrite it.
fine. You can.
No, I kind of don't want to. I want to be special.
In a world of squares, be a circle.
They have extra.
That's a really bad heart.
Yeah. It's alright. I have a bad heart too. That's why they had to operate.
Oh, that's so sad.
Oh, it's a health joke.
It's actually 28. I'm supposed to add an inch for this.
Oh my goodness.
8.5.
Have you ever played football?
We forgot to add.
Like,
I mean, in the grand scheme of the world, yes.
No, like football.
Actually, competitively, no.
Okay, because my dad played competitively. Well, not like football player, star, whatever. But like he
Wait, what?
played.
Yeah, I did get
He
29.5.
indeed did play high school football.
second. This was with. Oh.
Does the yardstick, does that start at 0?
20 and a half.
Yeah, no.
I think it does.
It does.
I think it made the yardstick better than the
It does.
ruler.
It does.
But not just, right? Because it's the whole first. No, wait a minute.
And 3/4.
This is a
So that would
meter.
be
So you're getting some extra
20
inches here.
and
Do you know how many extra inches there are here?
28.5.
Like you're at 39 and something.
so minus 12.
Figure it out. Guys, be careful. This is a meter. This is in inches. This is metric, but this is 39 and some sort of leftover inches. So again, you grab inches, but be careful when you start to use it and because like how many extra are after the 39?
4 feet and 3/4.
I accidentally switched to the language change.
There's something out there.
Halfway
There's
through
something
the
left
sentence.
over.
Yes, it is.
That's all we did.
What are we using for our measurements?
Kind of.
What's your graphic? We always have
Not
graphics.
really.
We are not throwing a paper right there. There are expectations.
Yeah,
that
That
we have to
Mandarin
measure.
will change this.
Speaking Rubik's Cube.
36 cents.
Wait, are you fluent?
Absolutely.
39.
When I say I speak when I say I accidentally use the Cantonese, as in I accidentally comment on
Back in the 80s, yeah, I wasn't alive. Back in the 80s,
23 and 7/8.
America signed what was known as the Treaty of the Meter. Essentially saying everybody is going to switch over to the metric system. Bunch of countries signed this. Did we?
No.
No. And because of that, life is tougher. Grab a seat real quick. Like we talked about with the rulers, if you work on like the butted up against the end, meter sticks do start at 0.
They do.
You can't quite see it because it's covered up by the protective thing because, you know, they're selling these to students and they know the ends will get messed up. And this keeps it being a nice 0 point that we can measure to. However, because this is both a yardstick and a meter stick, but it is primarily a meter stick. Wow, look at how nice these little lines are. Over here, we end up, 39 and, crap. So, guys, let's make sure that we know how to read this. So, my first inch is this big line. Where my number is it below it, beside it? Like, it's to the left, right?
Yeah.
So this 1 tells us that this line is 1 inch. So up here, this line is your 39 inches. How much extra is there? Well, what's each of the little ones? How do you know?
Because there are 8 lines prior to that.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our little lines here are 8s. So 1/8, 2/8. I don't know.
Lucy, Goen, please come to the Perry office.
What could potentially work even better than a yardstick?
Meter stick.
A meter stick.
Well, if we were allowed to measure in metric, but America messed that up for us and didn't follow through. Mick, come get it.
Oh my god. Guess what, sir? I used so much math. I thought of you the whole weekend because I used so much math because I'm redoing my room. I'm moving into my sister's room. And guess what? So basically, I went to the mall and I got like these jeans and I did that little thing trick.
I'm trying to keep people from using the right ones. Take the black and yellow because they just aren't very good. They're old and just not very good. Anyone else? We all got one?
I have a
All right.
But sir, I went to the mall and I did like that little like open arm thingy thing and I went to
Yeah, these are like brand new. Hey, by the way, sorry, I love your stories. There's just not always time. If you let this go, it will snap back, but it might hurt you. I'm not worried about you breaking my measuring tape like this.
in general bigger than the other number? Aside from being negative.
So if
Could you
that's
just
the value's bigger.
Could you just take a negative, subtract the positive, and then that'd be the negative value?
Yeah, that's what I did.
I could do that, but if it wasn't too sure.
Now, most measuring tapes are not like these. Most only have inches or millimeters. These have both. Inches and centimeters, and then the smaller than the centimeters are your millimeters. So actually these little lines are millimeters. Because if you look at your inches, the halves are indicated by like a slightly smaller line. The quarters are a slightly smaller line. The eighths are slightly smaller than that. And then what are the even smaller? 16th. We have more accuracy here. Am I like drawing? No, that's just the reflection. So each of those little lines, and if we count in between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, we now can measure to the accuracy of 16ths of an inch. So take your time to get the length and width accurately now.
How far away am I from that chair? I am 40. I'm like 50 inches. Wow.
Oh, where'd our schedule go? There we go. 33. We got 5 minutes. I'm going to wipe out our old measurements because I don't know that we really trust those anymore.
Well, I mean, for the height, like the one that I got was 28 inches for like the meter stick, sorry, the yardstick. But then for this one, I got 29 and a half.
As your group has your length, width, height, come on up, add them to the board. Come on up and add them to the board.
I love measuring tapes. They're like quite amazing.
I wonder if you know the thing I'm about to teach you before you guys leave about measuring tapes being so accurate.
Are they not accurate?
No, they're awesomely accurate.
Oh, for real, for real.
Because are you aware that this moves and that's on purpose?
Yes, because my dad told me that like 2 days ago when we were redoing my room. Oh, you're so dad-esque. I love that. Oh, that's so sweet. Like, measure. No, I'm
Are you
serious.
ever not excited? I'm just
No,
really...
I'm not.
Claire, I'm getting real worried that's just going to bend and just fall right, like just smack you right in the head.
I am 80 inches away from the ceiling.
So certain tape measures will tell you can extend them like a certain amount of feet before they break because like they can only take so much weight.
I'm very trained on keeping it steady. I do this a lot.
Oh, sir. That's sad.
My smartboard doesn't work the same as other people's. Sorry, you can't just do the flat hand erase. You gotta actually click eraser. So now click pen again, and it should go back.
Since we have this tool,
Yeah, your guys' won't match. You're just on your own.
yeah.
All right, so I hate to do this, but because classes are shortened today, and I didn't know they were gonna be shortened, we're running out of time. So we probably all need to grab a seat.
After mine, right?
I mean, we don't really need all of these up here. It's just an exercise in accuracy. Grab a seat. I need to drop some knowledge on you, but Maddie, I might let you help me drop this knowledge if you actually know what I'm talking about. Your measuring tape that a lot of us are now playing with has a tip that moves.
Yes, it does.
And you might initially think,
This is jinkety.
oh, that's because when this happens, it's to let it have a little bit of spring. Now, shout out Steve Ramsey, one of my favorite woodworkers on YouTube. He did an experiment where he extended his tape measure 8 feet across his workbench and let it snap back until it broke. He did it so many times he cut his finger because it wore his finger down. So then he finally had to put tape around his finger to keep going. Finally, and he kept checking, is it still accurate? Still accurate. So this movement is not anything to do with the tape snapping. Maddie, do you know it well enough to explain it in 2 minutes or less?
Okay, let me see. Okay.
With the box that I have sitting here as an example.
Okay. So basically, we pull tape measure out.
Inside, outside.
Like,
You on outside?
sure.
Okay. So what? All right. So can I do it then? It's maybe I'll tag you in like next year, right?
Wait, next
All right. Well, I'd sometimes let kids come teach with me. So this movement, guys, look up here. I got knowledge for you to learn. If you're doing your homework, stop. You're gonna make me regret giving out homework at the beginning of class and make me change my policy. So, guys, I just learned this like less than a year ago, and it blew my mind to think about how much people care about accuracy. When I go to measure how wide my box is on the outside measurement, this little tab has extended. And that's on purpose. I need to make sure it's extended to get my accurate measurement. And because of cuts, I ended up just under 3 3/4. Right? I was going for 3 3/4, the design that I made, but my cut corners kind of made it a tiny bit smaller. But that's okay, because really, this was just made to be big enough to hold cards. And I gave myself some wiggle room, literally wiggle room. But when I go to measure the inside of it to check, is it going to be big enough to fit the cards that I'm doing, this tab goes in. And that's on purpose. Because on the inside measurement, the thickness of the tab is going to mess up my measurement unless we're able to move that thickness out of the way by this being movable. So the amount this moves is exactly the same as the thickness of the tab. So when you go to do an inside measurement, and I'm dumb, guys, we're all dumb, but I'm dumb. I used to, when I took my inside measurements, put my finger in, hold the tab, and pull my tape. And every single inside measurement I took was off. And I did not know until I was spending some free time watching some YouTube, and Steve Ramsey dropped this knowledge on me of that movement is on purpose. And yeah, as a 30-something-year-old who claims himself to be a woodworker, like as a hobby, just learned that like this year. The amount that accuracy matters, like it does. So what you should have realized from today, the rulers, okay, we got close. Yardsticks, better, easier, quicker. But if there's a best tool for the job, use the best tool for the job to preserve accuracy. Please put the tools away where you got them and head on out to 2A.
Mr. Hudson, is there any reason why the tape measure is like curved when you take it out?
I think just so you can extend it without it breaking so soon. I mean, that you could look it up. I don't know, but that's my guess.
My dad taught me that.
Yeah.